Well, folks, it's 2025 and we're still talking about cutting the budget of the CDC, as if the pandemic taught us nothing. Watch as Trump's budget guy, Vought or however you pronounce his name, gets grilled by Senator Jon Ossoff of Georgia.
You're crushing morale, you're crushing capability, and you're destroying my constituents' lives. And I am grateful for the commitment you've made to come to Georgia and visit the CDC and sit down with those employees. Thank you, Madam
Chair.
Chair.
The Biden administration.
I don't want to hear about the Biden administration.
Well,
you're here on behalf of the Trump administration.
Ooh, that's like the political version of keep my president's name out of your beeping mouth. You know, Vought thought he was going to get an easy time in front of Ossoff, but he didn't, and it got worse.
I asked you whether you have fired or tried to fire a quarter of the CDC workforce.
I can't answer the question because I don't have
you
the facts in front of me. That's
you have
the CDC
fired or
director's,
tried to fire
information to
nearly
give you.
a quarter of the CDC workforce, and your budget request for FY26 would cut the CDC budget in more than half, correct?
The Center for Disease Control.
Answer the question.
They were incompetent.
Answer the question,
last
Mr. Vought.
pandemic.
Does your
The
budget
Biden-
request
we certainly
seek to cut by more than half the CDC budget?
We certainly seek to cut and reduce
by
the
more than
CDC.
half the CDC budget.
The
Listen,
extent to
Mr. Vought,
which-
you need to come to Georgia and visit the
Happy to.
CDC. Good. We'll make that happen because you are destroying this institution. And whatever criticism you have about their past performance, they are essential to public health and epidemiological defense in the United States.
I love it when they say, answer the question. Answer the question. You can't handle the truth. Vought, that's his name, Vought. And Ossoff let him have it. He said, you're destroying the CDC, you numbnut. You're destroying it. And he's not the only one doing it.
Secretary Kennedy, are you aware that President Trump's Department of Justice is reportedly investigating United Healthcare for criminal insurance fraud in some of their for-profit health insurance plans, like Medicare Advantage?
I'm not aware of that investigation.
You are not aware that the Trump Department of Justice is investigating the largest insurance company in America that
No, I'm not aware of.
for fraud in Medicare Advantage
No, I'm not aware of that.
that
but
you have jurisdiction over?
It doesn't surprise me.
And just when you thought it couldn't get any more corrupt, here comes RFK Jr., absolutely stunned that the Trump DOJ is investigating United Healthcare for fraud. My guy looks like somebody just told him that Flintstone's vitamins don't count as medicine.
If that's the case, why did you nearly double the rate that taxpayer dollars give for-profit insurance companies like United next year if you don't know those things?
Double the rate. How did I do that?
So your agency nearly doubled the taxpayer dollars that for-profit insurance corporations like United will be paid next year, meaning these companies, the largest of whom is under investigation, criminal investigation by the Trump administration, will be receiving an additional $25 billion from your agency.
So let me get this straight. Insurance companies raise their rates and rip us off, and HHS responds by throwing more money at them. Doesn't sound corrupt at all. Listen, RFK Jr. is either in on the corruption or he's too dumb to know of the corruption. I'm going with both.
You have made a number of major decisions. I think I'm ever going to get a response, and I think your suggestion that somehow you're being transparent is simply not true. Now, one last question. You have made a number of major decisions about vaccines, and again, there's been no public comment process or public accountability on that either. What are you afraid of? I mean, with regard to vaccines, are you just afraid of receiving public comments on proposals, or you just think these are fringe views that are contrary to the views of most scientists, and that the public comments will reflect this? You say you want transparency, but there's been no public process for any of this.
We have a public process for regulating vaccines. It's called the ACIP committee, and it's a public meeting. There will be public
fired the
comment at that
committee.
meeting.
You fired the ACIP committee. You don't get to fire the ACIP committee and then say we're being transparent. I think we have an ACIP committee. No. These guys are such hypocrites. They claim to be transparent. They claim to be cutting fat from the budget. They claim to be helping. And meanwhile, what they're cutting is scientists that we need while helping insurance companies scam more people and get more money and get richer and richer. So the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. If you know about it, the big, beautiful bill that they're trying to pass is going to take away Medicaid for millions of people, healthcare for millions of people that need it. And meanwhile, these insurance companies are getting breaks. That first guy, Vought, the guy from the Office of the Budget, Trump's budget guy, he is part of Project 2025. He's a declared Christian nationalist. He's someone who is from the Heritage Foundation, and these guys have set their minds on cutting away government so that the executive branch, the president, can have more and more power and just do whatever he wants. That's what they're doing. That's what they did with Doge. Part of what they were doing was to try to say, look, we're saving so much money for you guys. You guys should give us a tax break. Let billionaires have their tax break. That's part of what this whole big, beautiful bill is to extend the tax break, which is going to hurt everybody because it's going to give a tax break. The bigger tax break goes to billionaires and corporations. The money that we would need to fund a lot of projects is going to tax breaks for the rich. And meanwhile, they're cutting the CDC. We need the CDC, and we don't need people on the vaccine committee for RFK Jr. who are biased. He went and found, rather than finding people that might have differing opinions, that might have some sort of knowledge that he might not agree with, he found loyalists to come in so that they can start cutting vaccines. I mean, it's a mess, folks. It's a mess. And it's so clear. And that's why hearings like this are important. And that's why clips like these are important to pass around. So people know the fix is in. The fix is in. If you're not a billionaire watching this video right now, you should be angry. You should be upset. You should call your senator, your congressman, and go, what is this big, beautiful bill you're trying to pass? Why are they cutting the CDC? Why are they cutting vaccines? They need to recommend vaccinations. We've seen now in Texas, the measles have continued to pick up more and more because they've bought into this vaccine denial. Like RFK Jr. I don't know. He didn't know that HHS, that he should know about, that's part of his domain to know about the DOJ going after United Healthcare for fraud. For fraud, folks, for fraud. There wasn't fraud in the 2020 election. There's fraud in insurance. And a lot of insurance companies are doing the fraud. And a lot of insurance companies are getting rich and richer and richer. And the rich keep getting richer and richer and richer. And meanwhile, they're trying to cut all these benefits. Meanwhile, they're doing things like the tariffs. They are bending themselves backwards and into pretzels to try to seem like they're saving some money somehow. They say the problem was the government was bloated, so we had to go in and cut all these people. But no one's saying that there aren't places where you can be more efficient and maybe there's cuts that we could make. Of course, if you can save money, save money. But you don't go into these departments and just cut them completely. They got rid of a lot of people from the FAA. We need people from the FAA to land the planes. They got rid of people that were working with the nuclear agency, and then they rehired them. We've seen, and all of that, by the way, Doge in the end didn't, remember Elon Musk had said 2 trillion, 3 trillion he was going to save with cuts? It didn't come close. It's in the billions of dollars that they've saved by cutting all these jobs. And now you have people that are highly skilled that aren't on these jobs when we need them. Now you have fire season coming around. You got the hills and the mountains and the hiking trails that need to have a ranger. There's no more ranger. So if a fire happens, there's no one right there on hand to help with that. We're going to see the results of all of these cuts soon. CDC, don't cut the CDC, man. Give them more. Like Jon Ossoff was telling that Vought guy. Go to Atlanta and look at what the CDC is doing. They're doing good work. They're not there trying to harm people. They're trying to save people. They're trying to be ready in case some kind of pandemic or something breaks out again. That's what you need the CDC for. So you can't just go cutting them and then giving breaks to billionaires and health insurance companies. It's ridiculous. And we're seeing it right here. And it's all greed. Look at how much Donald Trump has made in the first few months of his presidency. Look at how much Elon Musk's investment in the presidency, $250 million or so that he invested in the election, rose his net worth by billions of dollars. Look at the tariffs. It's all corruption. When he called the tariffs in place, all of the stock market went down. People who needed their money, who had 401ks, had to, sell their stocks at a lower price and just cash in on it. But people who were wealthy went in and bought stocks at a low price and made a ton of money. Don't believe me? Listen to Donald Trump. The day after, 2 days after, when he called the tariffs off and the stock market went back up, he had Charles Schwab in his office, in the Oval Office, going, oh, this guy made $2 billion on this tariff thing. So they're doing everything they can to make themselves richer and more powerful. It's just disgusting what they're doing. And then they're saying they're going after fraud when they're involved with the fraud. Who knows how much RFK Jr. knows? He seems bumbling. I know that he's well educated. I know that he was a lawyer who used to fight for the environment and did some good stuff, but he seems like he's lost his mind. I mean, why would you go in front of Congress and not be prepared? Why wouldn't they tell you that the biggest insurance company in the country is being investigated for fraud by the DOJ of Donald Trump's administration? Why wouldn't they tell them that? Why do these people have to sit there and find these things out from the congressperson who's bringing it up to them? Why do these people have to? Why does Jon Ossoff have to tell that vote guy, yeah, you cut half or tried to cut half the CDC staff? They gotta tell these people all this stuff. Why does that last clip we saw? Why does that gentleman have to tell RFK Jr. that you cut the people in charge of approving the vaccines and you put in people that agreed with you? I mean, if this isn't corruption, then I don't know what is, folks. I don't know what is. Call your congresspeople, call your senators, tell them you see it loud and clear. Let them know this big, beautiful bill ain't beautiful at all. Let them know the CDC needs staffing. Let them know the way that they're governing right now, 6 months into this presidency, is leading us down a dangerous path. Folks, I'm comedian Maz Jobrani. I've got a YouTube page right here on YouTube. It's at Maz Jobrani. Give it a follow. It's free. Check it out. I got stand up there. If you enjoy it, let me know that you discovered it through Rebel HQ.